Well, joining me now, as he does every week, is the foreign editor of The Australian, Greg Sheridan. Greg, let's start with Donald Trump. Announced he's being arrested on Thursday. They told us all about the jail there. Doesn't sound fun. And we're about to see a Republican candidates debate without Trump. That might be a bit dull. Strange times in the US, isn't it?
It is, Andrew. It's very depressing for friends and allies of the US like Australia. I tell you, this whole election season, although it's unspeakably and uniquely weird, has terrible echoes for me of 2016. All the Trump rivals in the Republican Party are going to be attacking each other in the attempt to knock out whoever they think is ahead of them as number two, so that they can become the clear alternative to Trump should Trump fall over. Yet there's no sign at the moment that Trump is going to fall over. Meanwhile, the Democrats are lumbered with a terrible candidate in Joe Biden, as they were in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. Now, they all think they can't possibly lose to Trump. But I tell you, poll after poll after poll puts Trump and Biden in an absolute dead heat at the moment. And I think Biden is heading towards impeachment over these financial irregularities with his son. So it would be a blessed mercy for the world if these two wretched, vindictive, bitter, twisted old men would bugger off somewhere and allow two decent candidates to emerge. But there's every chance that you get Trump versus Biden, just like we had Trump versus Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Wow, it'll be fun to cover at least. Look, back home, the government was waxing lyrical about their deal on Tomahawk missiles, but you've smashed it up this morning in The Australian. You say it's another case of smoke and mirrors, basically, don't you?
That's right, Andrew. Look, this country is going through a terrible pantomime defence debate. And, I'd urge my colleagues in the media to be a bit more rigorous in their assessment of what the government is saying to them. I mean, we even had reports yesterday that the government is planning to build these Tomahawks in Australia. No, they're not. They're planning to build short-range artillery rockets which Army HIMARS systems fire for land battles. So if we have a land battle with the Chinese Army in Western Queensland, these rockets might be quite relevant. But for Tomahawks, there are only 3 ships in the Australian Navy which can be configured to fire them, the air warfare destroyers. The air warfare destroyers themselves are very, very lightly armed compared to anything called a destroyer in any other navy. The Navy rule of 3 means you've got to have 3 ships for one to be operable. So that means we'll have 1 ship which can fire Tomahawk missiles. Of the 48 vertical launch cells, at least half of those will be involved in self-defence of the ship, and a bit more if it's going to do its designated role of air defence for a whole convoy of ships. So at any given moment, when we are at our most ferocious, we will be able to deploy 1 single ship with maybe 6 or 10 Tomahawk missiles on it. And the reason we're in this ridiculous situation is that the government has decided that because it's doing the AUKUS subs, it doesn't have to do anything else. So we don't know what Stephen Smith and Angus Houston recommended for the surface fleet of the Navy in the Defence Strategic Review. That was censored by the government and the Defence Department, and they booted off the surface fleet into another inquiry, which is probably going to report in September sometime. But the fact that it's taken so long means it's almost certain we're not going to accelerate to get any new platforms. So for the next 10 years, we do nothing. So the government has got Winston Churchill rhetoric for a Neville Chamberlain policy.
Oh,